Yo, we are on episode 29 now. Last pod that we did was wild card weekend. Did not do one for the divisional round. I was sick. I had the flu. Missed out on that, but we're coming back around here for the conference championship games. We can do some quick review slash takes on what went on in the divisional round. The Bills Broncos game. I know that a lot of people are, just pretending like it doesn't matter that Josh Allen had a bunch of turnovers in that game and just pretending like he had no help and he's just some tragic figure. Unfortunately, you got to get it done. I had money on the Bills, so maybe that's like a little bit more biased on my part that obviously I wanted him to play well to win me some money. But I mean, I know that you're playing one of the best defenses, but having that many fumbles and throwing that game-losing pick at the end of the game, it's not a good look for Josh Allen, man, because Josh Allen's thing has always been, oh, man, the only reason he isn't winning is because Patrick Mahomes, and then, he lost to Joe Burrow, now he's lost to Bo Nix. And I don't know, I just think you can't really put up that disappointing of a performance in that big of a game and just somehow we fire the coach and just pretend like it's his fault. Like, in all honesty, I think they fired the wrong guy. I think Brandon Beane is who should have been canned. I'm not really a big fan of Brandon Beane. I don't want to sound like I hate the guy. I don't think that he's necessarily a terrible coach. I just don't, a terrible GM. I don't think that he's drafted that well over the last couple of years. I don't think that he has made the right personnel moves around the team. I mean, I'm just not impressed, and I feel like he won a power struggle where, in my opinion, I think that Sean McDermott's a good coach. Now, maybe you're firing him and you get to, if say that you fire Sean McDermott, right? And you just you fire Sean McDermott, right? And you end up hiring a coach who could take you guys to a Super Bowl. That's one positive outcome that's definitely possible. It's not impossible that you hire a coach and it turns out Sean McDermott's message was just stale and you guys move on, you guys, go win a Super Bowl. But chances are the coach you hire is going to be worse than Sean McDermott. So to me, unless you have a guy who's already lined up, if you had somebody in mind, if you had a Harbaugh in mind, if you had a Tomlin in mind, if you have somebody like that who you think is a known quantity and you can assume is going to come and win football games for your team off the bat and is a Super Bowl caliber coach and is a winning coach, then maybe I understand the move. But to me, it kind of just feels like you're just like, there's only so many bullets in this gun. You know what I mean? You fire the head coach, you end up promoting the GM, which I feel like was not the right move, but I don't know. I mean, you're not going to trade Josh Allen, so now you fired the coach. Your OC's probably leaving. I think that they probably are going to end up hiring Brian Daboll. That would be my assumption. I don't hate that. I don't know that it's going to be great. But, I mean, you're firing a coach who brought you guys from being a dog shit organization to being one of the better organizations in the NFL. Of course, that's helped by the fact that he had Josh Allen, but whatever. I was looking at these draft classes recently, and yeah, man, I mean, has Brandon Beane really earned the promotion of moving up to, like, I think he's president of football operations or something now. But, like, you look at the last, like, 4 drafts. You draft Russo in the first round in 2021. That's fine. The whole rest of that draft is trash except Spencer Brown, who's fine. Spencer Brown's a good offensive lineman. 2022, you draft Kaiir Elam in the first round. James Cook in the second round, I guess, is a good pick. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he led the league in rushing this year. But then you draft. I mean, I don't know. I'm not particularly impressed. Like, okay, let's even narrow down because I actually think that those 2 years he was okay. But let's even narrow down to the last 3 years. You draft 2023. You draft Dalton Kincaid. He's fine. Osiris Torrance, Dorian Williams, Justin Shorter, Nick Broker, and Alex Austin. So one good player. 2024, you draft Keon Coleman, who in my opinion has been a big-time disappointment. I expected more from Keon Coleman. I want to adjust this camera real quick. I expected more from Keon Coleman in his career. I just wanted to show the Matt Knows ball sign to start, but the camera just looked like it was in an odd spot. Keon Coleman to me has been a letdown. I mean, this guy got benched basically. He was, DNP coach's decision basically multiple times this year. I think they suspended him for a game and he's on the sideline dancing and shit. Keon Coleman's a disappointment so far, especially because I believe that was when they traded down and gave the Chiefs Xavier Worthy, who also I don't think has been that good. But you drafted Cole Bishop in the second round too. Whatever. Cole Bishop's a cool starting safety, probably better in Madden than he is in the real game. or in real football. Whole rest of that draft class doesn't play. Last year, you draft Maxwell Harrison, who's fine, and so far, a bunch of guys who have done nothing. So, like, I don't think that Brandon Beane has been particularly impressive enough to, earn the benefit of the doubt with this organization. If you're firing Sean McDermott, in my opinion, Brandon Beane should have been gone too. But let's look at the Broncos side of things. Honestly, as a Raiders fan, I hate the Broncos for some reason, even more than I hate the Chiefs. I really hate the Broncos. But seeing Bo Nix go down with an ankle injury, that's a serious heartbreaker if you're a Broncos fan. I can't believe that. And honestly, I don't think that starting Jarrett Stidham is like a death knell. I think that if that spread moved to like 6 to 6.5 points, honestly, I'd think about betting on the Broncos, but I don't know. You're at home, AFC Conference Championship game now. It's very, very unfortunate because I think the Broncos had a good chance to be going on to the Super Bowl. I don't think they would have won, but I think they would have had a good chance to go. I was actually pretty impressed with Bo Nix, even though he was playing what I consider to be a bad defense in the Bills. Of course, they're a decent pass defense, apparently a really good pass defense, but I didn't believe in it. And Bo Nix played one of his more impressive games of the season. I'm not a Bo Nix guy, but Bo Nix played a great game. Outdueled Josh. He outplayed Josh Allen in a playoff game. So, I mean, that in itself is pretty impressive. Goes down with a broken ankle. Super unfortunate. They're going to be starting Jarrett Stidham for the AFC Conference Championship game. But the question is, do they call? I've seen people talking about, do they call a retired player like how they did for Phillip Rivers? Like, obviously, the best phone call you could ever make was to Brady, but Brady owns the Raiders, so you can't go into there. But could you call? These are players who I would think about calling. They would all say no, in my opinion. Andrew Luck would be the best possible option, in my opinion. I think Andrew Luck would say no. I don't think any of these guys would ever do it. But if you had to, if you hypothetically had to call a quarterback to come play for the Broncos, Andrew Luck, good option in my opinion. You could call Drew Brees. Drew Brees' arm is shot, but you could call Drew Brees. He knows Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton would enjoy it. You could call Ryan Tannehill, who I don't know if he's officially retired or not, but he's not playing. Derek Carr. Derek Carr, I think, could still be good, but I don't think he'd do it because he's a Raider to his core. And I love that about Derek Carr. A lot of people shit on Derek Carr once he left the Raiders. I don't think that he deserved it. He loves the Raiders, and he's a Raider to his core, and I have to respect that. I don't think he would do it because it's the Broncos. And then, is RG3 as insane? It is crazy, but fuck it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think any of those guys would do it, but fun conversation. What else? So the Texans played the Patriots. CJ Stroud shit his pants. I don't really want to cover that game too much. Game wasn't particularly exciting. CJ Stroud melted down. But Rams Bears, man, that was a hell of a game. Not just because the Bears covered the spread and won me some money, but Caleb Williams, man. I mean, is it crazy to say right now Caleb Williams is the most talented quarterback in the NFL? Like, you could say it's him, it's Mahomes, it's Josh Allen, it's those guys, Lamar, it's those guys. But Caleb Williams might be the most physically gifted player in the NFL. His foot speed is shocking. He's surprisingly good. Like, I didn't think his athleticism outside of the pocket would translate this well. Like, I thought he would be a good athlete, obviously. But, like, in college, he was making people look stupid. And in the NFL, he's still making people look stupid. Like, I don't know. He generates so much force when he throws the ball. I wish so bad that I could throw a ball as hard as Caleb Williams does. His passes, he threw a 40-yard dot off the back foot like a fadeaway jump shot in the back of the end zone to send the game to overtime. Of course, shit the bed by throwing that pick. You didn't really have to force that, but that's a young QB mistake. Him and Ben Johnson, I'm sure, will get this ironed out. I think that one of the more impressive things with Caleb Williams is the fact that he showed, like, the ability to make big steps in his improvement as a player. Like, last year, his sacks were really bad, and this year he's kind of cleaned that up. He's dialed that in. He's not taking as many sacks, and I've been overall super impressed with Caleb Williams this season. And I think that next year we could be having a conversation of Caleb Williams as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He's unbelievably clutch, man. If you could just hypnotize this dude, I saw Nick Wright say this, if you could just hypnotize this dude to convince him that he was down 10 with 4 minutes left every game, he might be the best QB ever. I don't know. I mean, he's wildly impressive as a player. And the way that he can throw the ball so hard, the ball just flies 40 yards, doesn't move in the air, just right across your screen. You're just like, holy shit! Like, how did you even do? Like, it was that throw against the Ravens into the back of the end zone. Now there's huge plays against the Packers. It's just and the Rams. It's just crazy, man. He's insane. If he can get the little shit down, like last year was pre-snap and taking sacks, and he's kind of clearly ironed those out. They're not getting those procedural penalties anymore. None of that weird shit. And if you can just improve on your accuracy in the small game, if you can throw a better slant, throw a better screen, throw shit like that better, which is crazy for a guy as talented as he is. I mean, the sky is the limit. I've been a Caleb Williams fan since he was in the NFL. Everybody was down on him last year. I thought that it wasn't his fault. I thought Eberflus was a doofus, and the coach sucked, and all the whole coaching staff sucked. I thought the offensive line sucked, and the defense sucked. So like, I didn't. I never understood how people blamed him for that. But I mean, he might have the highest ceiling of any player in the NFL. Like, if he reached his peak and became peak whatever the hell Caleb Williams is, he could be the best quarterback in the NFL. The Rams advanced to the conference championship game in a game that they played better than the Bears throughout the entire game until the last 2 minutes of the game. Sean McVay is weird to me. I like Sean McVay a lot. I love his schemes. I think that he does super interesting stuff. I love the motion. I love one of the underrated things I love that he does is when he does a C gap insert on a receiver where they run up through the C gap. I think that that's such a cool like thing. Random thought though, if you're a D lineman and he comes flying up through there, could you hit him? I'm gonna post this on like TikTok or something. Coaches, how does that work? Somebody who really knows the rule book. If I do a C gap insert with a wide receiver, say you put Puka Nacua in motion, Nacua comes through and then goes up through the C gap. What if my D lineman or a blitzing linebacker just lights his ass up? That's fine, right? You're within 5 yards. Technically, I mean, he's in the trenches right there. I don't know. Random thought. But I like Sean McVay a lot. I thought the fact that he ran the ball, Nick Wright also talked about this. The way he ran the ball on like 3rd and 6 or something, or 3rd and 7, I can't remember. And he like, it just felt weird to me because it was like 2 minutes and 6 seconds left or something. And it's just like, okay, so you're just kind of giving up and running the ball here when like you running the ball doesn't necessarily chew the clock out anyway, because after this play, you're going to the 2-minute warning. So like, why not just pass the ball and try and get a first down instead of just running the ball and trying to kill clock for 5 seconds? Weird, but I think that they're going to most likely make the Super Bowl. Or, I mean, not most likely make the Super Bowl. I think that they're going to have a great game against the Seahawks. I would be, I don't know who I'm picking in these conference championship games, but as of right now, my picks would probably be the Patriots and the Seahawks, which is crazy to say. The Seahawks have made me a lot of money this year, but Sam Darnold tends to get a little scary against the Rams, so we'll see what happens. Seahawks defense is unbelievably dominant. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm working night shifts. Seahawks have a fantastic defense. Super impressed with the Seahawks this year. Let's talk about some coaching moves, man. So you have actually, I'm gonna get a sip. Real quick. Let's talk about some coaching moves, though. Harbaugh gets fired from the Ravens. He's hired on at the Giants. I think that that's a great hire for the Giants. They have their young quarterback. They seemingly have a young running back. They have an awesome defensive line. You add a couple auxiliary pieces here and there. Malik Neighbors comes back. You draft an offensive lineman to have on, draft another tackle. Him and Andrew Thomas could be great. I don't know who him is, but, you draft a good tackle. And I think that this is the Giants are nothing but the up and up. The Giants, I wouldn't be shocked if they made the playoffs next year. I wouldn't be shocked if they won 10 games, I don't think that that's impossible. I think that this is an impressive team from a talent standpoint, and now you've gotten a coach who I think is a known quantity, a culture builder in my opinion. And if you get the right coordinators or you get the right, staff around this team, like I don't see why they can't be great. If Jackson Dart continues to improve and stays out of the blue tent, I don't see what's holding them back. I think they could end up with a really good defense with Abdul Carter improving in year 2, who was a little disappointing this season. Mike Tomlin got canned, which is crazy. I think we all talked about it, but I don't think anybody really saw it coming. Like, we all saw it coming, but I don't think any of us actually thought it would happen. I guess he wasn't canned. He quit. He resigned. I don't know where he's going to go, though. I don't see what team's going to hire him. But just one of those things that, like, we all talked about, we all thought was a possibility, but I don't think any of us, like, once it happened, it still felt kind of weird to me. I was like, really? They actually fired him? Or that he actually, like, resigned? I didn't see that coming. Robert Saleh has been hired to be the head coach of the Titans. Cam Ward gets a real head coach. I would assume that the Titans defense will improve because I like Robert Saleh a lot. I think he's a good DC, but still, I don't expect that to be a particularly great offensive team. That their talent is terrible. They're truly the least talented team in the NFL besides the Jets. Mike McDaniel's fired. I predicted that before the season. I think we all predicted that before the season. Weirdly enough, after the season, I didn't really think he deserved to be fired somehow. He kind of like seemingly brought those guys together in the locker room. There was the Tyreek injury, and Tua was out, and you're playing Quinn Ewers, and you would expect that he like starts to lose the locker room there, but shockingly, like they played hard. They beat the Bills. Like they had some good games. They impressed me. But he got fired, and he just got hired by the Chargers, of course, to be their offensive coordinator. So my Raiders in the AFC West continue to be a fucking brutal division. Please stop doing that, for the love of God. Now we have to deal with Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel, who are going to be just cooking shit up. Then there's Sean Payton and the Broncos, and I think their DC's I think it's Vance Joseph. I can't remember his name. I think that's his name. He's looking at to get hired as a head coach, but he's probably going to stay, I think. You have this division's ridiculous. You have Mahomes and Andy Reid. You have Sean Payton with Bo Nix and that insane Broncos defense. The Chargers defense, who is about to get Jesse Minter hired as a head coach probably, and now Mike McDaniel. I mean, this is one hell of a division for Fernando Mendoza to show up to. But we're gonna get to him on another time. Sean McDermott canned. I talked about that. I actually weirdly like Kevin Stefanski to Atlanta. I don't really feel like anybody cared or talked about this, but I mean, he's a 2-time coach of the year. Like I don't think that they have their future quarterback, so I don't know that this is going to be instantly impressive. But if they draft a QB or Michael Penix hits, this is going to be a good team. We say this every year. You just have to get that quarterback spot right. And I think that Stefanski is a great coach. And I think that he could unlock Bijan and Drake London. And I mean, not unlock like they're not good, but like he could unlock Kyle Pitts and he could continue to improve Bijan and Drake London. If they get the quarterback right, this could be a really, really good team. If they continue to have bad quarterback play, Bijan and Drake London are going to be, the Bugatti outside of the trap house for the future. But let's talk about the national championship game. I'm not a college football guy. I've always been an NFL guy. I've always been a basketball guy. I've never really been too heavily into college football. I love Cal. I've been to a bunch of Cal games. I always root for them. But I'm not a huge college football guy. I'm coming around now, though. Last couple of years, I'm getting slowly more and more into it. I watched all the playoffs this year. And what a turnaround by the Hoosiers, man. You go from being one of the least winning franchises in the history of college football. You go 11-3, and then you go 16-0, win the national championship, have your quarterback win the Heisman. I didn't see this coming from Mendoza. It feels weird even talking about him, to be honest with you. He went to school with my girlfriend at Cal. They had like a class together. Like, it's crazy to me, this kid, like, we're not the same age. This guy who I watched play football for Cal, and I didn't find him particularly impressive at Cal. I didn't think he was a very good quarterback at Cal. That said, we were, a wholly untalented team. Like, we have a couple good players here and there. Offensive line's not great. Really, the strength of our team in those years was our defense. And I didn't really, find him to be particularly impressive in any way. But the second he left, he's been awesome. I mean, I don't really care that he's running RPOs and handing the ball off and letting his defense take care of shit. Like, this dude is clearly and obviously playing at a high level. He's a sharp-ass kid. He's tall, strong. I don't see why people are like, obviously, this isn't the same level prospect as a Caleb Williams or a Trevor Lawrence, but this is clearly a guy who's going to be loved in the locker room, a guy who's got his head on straight. And in all reality, I don't know how you can't root for him. I didn't like him when he went to Cal. Not like I disliked him as a person, but I was like, whatever, average Cal quarterback for the last, 10 years, mid. Super impressive season after that, though. And I can't do anything but root for him. Like, he seems like an awesome, genuine dude. And I think that people underrate how much intangibles are valued in a football locker room. Like Dak Prescott is not the most physically talented player. And I'm not a Dak Prescott fan. But he is perfect at the podium. He's perfect organizationally. There's never any drama around Dak. And everybody in the locker room loves that guy. Same thing with like Jared Goff. Same thing with Mahomes. The greats, not even the greats, like talking about Dak and Jared Goff sounds insane. But like I'm even saying most of the all-time great quarterbacks are great locker room guys, great intangibles, great at the podium. Like it matters to a certain extent. And this kid, it's weird calling him a kid. This guy, high IQ, obviously, but also your intangibles matter. Whether or not the locker room loves you and whether or not you're easily coachable and whether or not you're humble or you have a chip on your shoulder or you're this or you're that matters a lot. And I think that people just like pretend like that doesn't matter just because he's not, he's not running like Lamar Jackson and he's not throwing the ball 90 yards like Josh Allen. Like, of course, when you take a quarterback who in a lot of people's mind plays in a system that benefits him greatly, for example, like if you were talking about like Brock Purdy, of course, a lot of people are going to say maybe Brock Purdy's overrated because he plays in the Shanahan system or whatever. Or maybe Fernando Mendoza, quote unquote, is overrated because he plays, for Curt Cignetti and they have this great team. But it still matters. Like, it still matters that you played well. It still matters to me that in the fucking national championship game, he takes what a lot of people considered a cheap shot. I kind of just thought it was like good old fashioned football. Takes a cheap shot to the face. He's bleeding out of his mouth. And then on the biggest play in the game, 4th and 6, takes the ball up the middle, jukes out a dude, takes 2 hits, and then dives into the fucking end zone to score a touchdown and win the national championship game. Of course, their defense is what stopped Miami and ended up like technically winning the game. But when you show me, if you're going to say Fernando Mendoza at best is a game manager in the NFL, you could say that. It's not a crazy take. I don't think that it's like unfounded that he comes in and he's Jared Goff. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is how good you are in the biggest moment. And he didn't shit his pants in any of these playoff games. He didn't come into any of these games and melt down. He didn't let me down. He didn't let any of those Indiana fans. He didn't let his coach down. He came in and he did what he had to do. And they won the fucking Natty for the Indiana Hoosiers. Like, it's the most impressive turnaround in the history of sports, pro sports, college sports, any of them. I've never even seen or heard of something this impressive in terms of a turnaround. It's not the most impressive feat ever, maybe, but in terms of turning a program around in such short of a span and then going undefeated to win the Natty with a team that I don't think is an all-time great team. I don't think that team's better than 2019 LSU. I don't think that team's better than those old Miami teams. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't 2019 LSU. But they went undefeated, won a championship, and executed at every level. And I hate to say it, I'm in. I'm in on Fernando Mendoza. I wasn't before. I am now. I'm on the hype train. I don't know that he's going to come in and be fucking Tom Brady. But like, a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, system guy, just running a lot of RPOs. I think he's running what they want to run. They're running what works. What matters is what works. It's not fucking... You're not in the huddle like, oh man, I really wish that we were running shotgun 5 wide so I could air the rock out right now. Like, no, you're doing what your coach thinks you need to do to win the football game. Like we're not in the business of, you don't get paid a bunch of money for losing games. You don't get paid a bunch of money for having nice stats and being being shit in every game. You know what I mean? Like, if he was throwing for 400 and losing every game, everyone would be like, he's a fucking loser. Like, am I tripping here? Like, it matters. It matters that he's winning. I don't think that, like, you're right, man. He's not running like Josh Allen. He's not running people over a little bit in that Natty game, but he's not throwing the ball 900 yards, but I'm impressed. Is this the strongest quarterback draft of the last 10 years? Definitely not. Could it be the weakest? Maybe. And is there a lot of other players in this draft who are super impressive and are super high-level guys who you might think are better players, like Ruben Bain, who he played in the Natty? Yeah. But my Raiders need a quarterback. We're talented on offense. We need a quarterback. We need a coach. I wish that we would do the duo. I wish Curt Cignetti would say, you know what? I really love Fernando Mendoza. Let's just both go to the Raiders. That'd be awesome. I would love that. I really would love that. I want us to get the correct coach. That's the most important thing for me. If you give this guy a good, talented head coach, especially, in my opinion, an offensive guy, I think we need not even young. We just need an offensive coach. I wouldn't even hate like Brian Daboll. Like I just want an offensive coach who I trust to help develop my quarterback, and I don't see why we can't be a good team. I don't want to harp too much on the whole Mendoza thing. I just think that like I've only seen like two sides. Like one side of this is like, oh my god, he's fucking unbelievable, generational, whatever, right? And then the other side is like, this guy sucks. All he's doing is checking down and throwing screen passes and throwing RPOs. Buddy, that's how they won the Natty. Like, it's gray area. It's not just black or white. He's awesome or he's trash. Like, they won the Natty and he did what he had to do to win. And that play was his signature moment of his entire football life, of his entire life. Probably it's probably the most accomplished, or probably the greatest moment of his life so far, is that play right there that pretty much sealed them winning the Natty. And I was fired up. Because at this point I know the Raiders are going to pick him. The Raiders are at the game. You know what I mean? The Raiders brass is there watching this kid. And I'm in my chair at work watching the national championship game, and I'm like, holy shit. The guy who we're drafting came through in the biggest moment. And that's what matters. So hopefully he's good. I'm not going to do much more than that. I think that was a good, solid episode. I'm worried about the Raiders coaching situation. Also, thought process. Let me just throw this idea out to you guys. I'm going to post this real quick. I'm about to end the pod, but this is the last thing. I'm thinking about getting a whiteboard and just throwing on like a play every day. Just something, just like thought exercise, fun shit for football or basketball. Yesterday, I was on the way home from playing basketball. I went to go play basketball with the fellas. On the way home, and I was thinking of drawing up plays to beat a 3-2 zone. I never coached either of these sports. I never played either of these sports besides recreationally. I have a heart condition, so I couldn't play high school football, and I didn't get cleared to play high school basketball. So didn't play any of them at a serious level whatsoever. But I love both of the sports. I'm an absolute sports addict. I think it would be fun just to draw something up every day and just put it on the podcast. Hey, coaches, what do you think? You know what I mean? I think that'd be fun. Let me know what you guys think. That's about it, man. I got to go to work, so I'm going to edit this, head to work, and we'll probably post picks for the weekend coming up.